Vroom, vroom, I'm Brandon. I love Fast Fridays.
Vroom, vroom, I'm Ryan, and I also love Fast Fridays.
Vroom, vroom to everyone out there, and I also love Fast Fridays, and this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy Friday to ya. It's hard to believe, but we are over halfway through the fast saga.
Yes, once we finish halfway through this episode, we will be we'll be halfway through this episode.
Sound the alarm.
We're watching Hobbs and Shaw, right?
We are. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, we are watching.
We are.
Hobbs and
Yeah.
Shaw?
We do have the time.
There's 11. Yeah, we have the time. There's 11 movies in the series.
I think
I was gonna have a proposal for Hobbs and Shaw, but okay.
What's the proposal,
come on,
Ryan?
spit it
I
out.
was gonna say if we stashed Hobbs and Shaw, you could watch Hobbs and Shaw and do a live Fast Friday at Bramblefest next year.
Man, that is a pitch, but Hobbs and Shaw, I think, is 6 hours long. I feel like we should just do it.
I'm down.
Okay.
I'm down for Hobbs and
Yeah.
Shaw at any given time. Hobbs has been a real standout here. We'll talk
I'm a completist, and I feel like, we wouldn't really be treating the people right if we didn't cover all of the Fast and Furious movies, and that is
Saga.
Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Where does I think I have us doing it after
9?
X, but should we do it in order? Is that important to the?
I mean, it's totally its own thing from what I remember about
that's what
it.
I thought
I
too.
think
like
technically, Dan, I think it's between 8 and
Yes.
9 because Dwayne isn't in 9.
It comes out between 8 and 9. That is correct. Yes.
So I mean, we could talk about it. We could
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
we'll
what we
figure it
want
out.
to do in a couple weeks.
I'm open to whatever.
I think
you know?
I have us doing the Fast in its actual sense through, and then doing Hobbs, but I'm not opposed to doing it in the release order.
I think I like where your head's at, though, Brand. It's like a little treat.
It's a little treat at the end.
At the end.
A little treat at the end. Speaking of little treats at the end, you're going to want to stay tuned for next week's episode.
Ooh, yeah, you
we
are.
got a little treat at the beginning, actually throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to miss out on that one.
Oh, man.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great, but it's going to be a limited time.
Let's not sell this episode short just yet. We could still have fun this week.
No, I think we're still going to have
Okay,
fun.
good,
I think we're still going to have fun. We're talking about Fast and Furious 6.
That's right. The last movie's called Fast 5. The next one is called Furious 7.
This one's
This
both.
one's both.
This one's both.
That's right.
This one is also one we rented.
We rented on Prime with my personal credit card.
So, fun fact, I would have also had to rent this. My goal was to not have to pay a single dime for any of these movies. And that works out for me because this is the only one I own on physical copy.
Wow. It's like you planned it out.
And then what's hilarious about saying you rented it is I looked at my Blu-ray cover the other day when I busted it out. And for some reason, I own a rental copy of Fast and Furious 6.
Of course.
It literally says rental copy on the bottom.
Blockbuster closed and you just went ham over there.
That was it.
Yeah, we all had that day.
We would have reimbursed you. I would have had Aaron cut you a check for $3.99 for the rental.
That means a lot.
You know what stings about our local Blockbuster establishment?
That
doesn't
stings
exist?
from 10 years ago.
Is that there is still nothing in there.
Yeah.
So every time we drive by where Blockbuster
We're like,
used
it
to
could
be,
still be Blockbuster.
we're like, nothing's there.
Yeah.
It also makes me
There is
wonder, like, what are they trying to get for that space? Could like we lowball them and get and move into the old Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Could we have a
that'd be
Blockbuster corner for no real reason, just to pay homage?
Yeah. Yeah. A buddy of mine and I used to call that. We used to come up with a game where one of us had to think of the most atrocious movie. Like, I would never watch this movie, and the other one would have to call them on the phone. This is late in Blockbuster's tenure, and ask if they had the movie. Mm-hmm. Like, do you have it? Like, and you would always have to repeat it several times. And the rule was, if they had it, then we had to go get it rented and watch it.
Ooh.
That's
That was a shout out.
Well, Dan,
shout out to Ben.
if you're ever Oh yeah, if you're ever local, there is a video store near my town here.
Oh, boy.
The girlfriend and I went for my birthday. It was majestic.
So for your birthday, I just want to be clear. After you got the Power Rangers shoot out of the way, what you did was you were like,
Power Rangers shoot was only a couple weeks ago, Dan.
Can we go to the local video and DVD store and rent out a movie or two?
Now, Dan, context is important here. All right. So first of all,
were you actually 12 this year? Did you turn 12 this year?
It's debatable. Now, however, this wasn't on my birthday. It was 2 days before my birthday. But it is worth noting that on my birthday, Alyssa and I went to a toy shop.
Oh, boy.
So,
Dude, I love you so much. That's fantastic.
it's mutual, man.
Is there still a Family Video in Malden or
They
no?
shut it down.
They
Family
shut it
Video
down.
shut down.
They was still there when I lived out there. I went a couple
This
times.
guy's been here forever, by the way. He says, like, I mean, I don't know how he's making it. What this guy does that's smart, although I don't really know what the market for this would be. He, like, is, like, getting bootleg copies of, like, films in theaters and renting them out in the store.
That's a crime. That's not smart. That's a crime, is what that is.
By smart, I meant highly questionable.
And
You just doxed this guy.
Just put him on blast. What's the name of his store so we can
Oh
send
my
our friends,
gosh.
listeners, and police officers there?
The name escapes me at the moment here.
I will say I feel like I've told this story before, but I was at a gas station once and there was a DVD, a bootleg DVD for the internship. And I said, okay, I guess I'm just kind of intrigued at this point. I don't know. That was the only one they had.
The Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn
Sorry,
classic?
the intern.
No, the Anne Hathaway.
That's the one.
Robert
Which
De Niro,
one's the intern?
The intern.
Yeah,
Is that
that's the intern.
Yeah.
That's just the intern. Okay.
Yeah.
I always mix those
Lovely
two up in title.
Those are both fine movies.
One would have to believe that the gas station guy and the guy here in the greater Connecticut area, I won't specify the location, are clearly collaborating.
It could be. They could be. They could be in cahoots. The default language was Spanish, but you could pick English. So that was nice.
Good.
When I first popped it in,
multilingual
when I first
you
popped it
watched
in,
it?
yeah, yes,
You pay what? How
You
much
bought
did you
it.
pay for?
just like $1, I think,
of course.
$1 or $2.
How was the quality?
Good. It was quality. When I first popped it in, it was in Spanish, and I was like, now it is all making sense. But when I went to the audio tracks, English was available, and that's a quality DVD burn.
Yeah, I'd say
Just
so.
want to put that out there for the folks at home. We're talking about Fast and Furious 6.
Yeah.
Which originally premiered on
Don't do
May
this.
7th,
At the
2013.
Galapagos Cinemaplex.
At the Empire Leicester Square. At Empire
Leicester?
Was that the driver of the week, the Leicester Square?
How would you say that?
Leicester.
Leicester? Yeah. Yeah, that's now that I see it, it's Leicester
The
Square.
Leicester.
And then
Brain, you added like 2 syllables.
yeah. And then 2 whole weeks later, everywhere else.
Yeah.
Man, how about
They
that?
probably did a worldwide tour. I mean, at this point, they're a big deal. They probably were going a bunch of places before, like, the internet.
Leicester got to jump on everybody
It's
there.
worldwide.
Yeah.
And it went a little something like this. Dom and Brian are racing through the streets, zipping and zooming and vroom vrooming. Why are they zooming? Because Mia is in labor. We then get a long montage showing us the past 5 movies. And then it goes straight into Hobbs just beating the crap out of a guy. He's investigating a big case and decides that he's going to try to bring Dom into this and his crew because it involves that picture of Letty that we saw at the end of 5. Dom says that he's in and calls the crew to come a helping. Letty is apparently working with a baddie named Shaw. They go to capture him and make a ton of things explode, and but then he drives away, leading to a giant chase. The chase doesn't go according to plan, especially at the end when Dom sees Letty and says, "Letty!" and then she shoots him in the shoulder and drives off. No, not Letty. After Dom takes out his own bullet from his bullet wound, Hobbs explains that Shaw is only one component away from being able to control all the power or something. I don't really know. Shaw is talking to his team, impresses Letty on what her relationship with the guy that she shot was, because, hey, we also have a picture of you on his lap. Don't ask how we got it. We have it. It is what it is. She claims she doesn't remember that. Later, we find out that Shaw found her at a hospital. she had amnesia, and so he took her in, and now is using her. So that's cool. Dom's crew learns that Shaw is connected to Braga, the drug lord from a couple movies ago. So Brian decides he needs to talk to him, and he does it the only way that he knows how to, by imprisoning himself and getting put into the jail cell next to him so he can have a conversation with him. He finds out that Shaw helped build Braga's drug empire and decided not to kill Letty after realizing that she doesn't remember anything, and so that's good. We got all that information. Dom tracks Letty down and challenges her to a street race, cause vroom vroom. Afterwards, they park and he tells her all the stories behind all of her scars. Super romantic, and then gives her his cross necklace. Shaw then shows up and tells Dom to get lost, and Dom is like, I'll walk away when Letty walks. And he's like, well, good luck with that one, buddy. So Shaw's crew then assaults a highway military convoy that has this chip that they need. Dom's crew finds out that it's happening, and so they interfere. There's tanks, they're destroying cars. It's a lot, but what can you do? Vroom vroom. Letty is on top of a tank. She gets flung. She gets flung from tank. It looks like she is getting ready to fly off of a bridge to her death. She's flying through the air, so Dom decides to do the most logical thing, which is to jump out of his moving car, also into the air, catching her, and then luckily the momentum brings them and they land on top of a car windshield, which breaks their fall. Back at headquarters, it's revealed that Shaw and his crew are captured, which is great, but he reveals that Mia has been kidnapped by Shaw's crew. So Hobbs decides to release Shaw, and he leaves with Hobbs' assistant Riley, who has been in on it the whole time. What? Letty decides that she is going to stay with Dom and help take Shaw down. So Shaw's group is on board this big plane. It's giant. And Dom's crew is there, and so a bunch of them are on board, while other ones are hanging on from the plane with their cars as this plane tries to lift off. Wonder Woman looks like she dies in the process. It's a whole lot. But Dom finds Shaw, goes after him, and the computer chip. As the plane crashes, Shaw is thrown from it and is seriously injured, and Dom drives out of the exploding plane. Dom reunites with the crew, gives the chip to Hobbs and then Hobbs is like, you guys are all free people. Congratulations. Right. So they all go back and they do their thing. And Dom is like, hey, I'm going to be with Letty now, to the girl that he was with at the beginning. And she's like, I get that. And then they have a dinner scene and they pray to the good Lord above. The credits then roll. Mid-credits, Han...
flying and drifting through Tokyo.
Does this ring a bell? Tokyo Drift. Yeah. Race scene. Han gets smashed by this car, and then out of it comes another fella. We don't know who it is.
Jason Statham.
Jason Statham.
And he then calls Dom and says, hey, you don't know me, but you are about to, as Han's car explodes to death. And that, my friends, was Fast and Furious 6.
We did it. Vroom, vroom to you.
We are going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll break this movie down with 4 segments here on Deck the Hallmark presents Fast Fridays. Well, hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing fine, whether you're in Lancaster, Leicester, Leicester, wherever you are today. Hope you're doing well here on a Friday. The weekend's here. We did it.
We did it,
everybody.
Yeah.
Drive off into the sunset as you leave your job today. We're talking Fast and Furious 6. We have 4 segments to help us break it down. We're going to start with the hot take, where we share exactly how we felt about this movie. And I'm going to start with Ryan. Ryan, vroom, vroom to you.
Brand, vroom, vroom. Thank you. Mildly controversially last week, I said that this was my favorite of the Fast
You told me
films.
this at Bramblefest too, Ryan.
It was mildly controversial then as well, yes. And so I know there was a lot of intrigue over the last 7 days as to where I would land. And I got to tell you, it was dicey for about 20 minutes during the middle of this film. But I'm still ready to say that this movie's pretty freaking excellent. The Rock is the lead of this movie. There was a debate out of Fast Five whether Dom or The Rock were the focus. In my opinion, The Rock is the focus of this film, and I think it's better for it. Hobbs is such a great character. He is an 80s action trope transported into a modern day action franchise. He nails it. He's excellent. The Letty reveal in this movie is sublime. The subway fight is, I think, maybe one of the best action set pieces out of the entire saga. It holds up. Both big chase scenes work. There is about 20 minutes of yada yada in the middle of this film, like I said. I think the film felt a responsibility. This is my guess after Fast Five. They're like, oh, we're a legitimate summer blockbuster now. We have to do summer blockbuster things. Yeah. We need The Rock and Ludacris to make jokes. And so that's just my guess, because those few scenes, those 15, 20 minutes feel very out of place with the rest of this film, which I think is excellent. The runway scene, the frenetic pace of that is still genuinely, no hyperbole, one of my favorite action set pieces ever. Wow. I love it. Like, legitimate. And I'm not saying, I mean, listen, there's a lot of things on that list, but there's so much going on there, and I love so much about it. Ultimately, there's a moment before that on the highway scene where Brian says, screw it, and then does something insane to try to save Tyrese Gibson. And you know what? Screw it. This movie's still freaking my favorite. I love it.
Wow.
It's fantastic.
You've got it ahead of 5.
If we're ranking the best films,
you get to rank it however you want to.
My ranking will be out of my favorites. 6 is still my favorite. It's The Dark Knight versus The Dark Knight Rises. Dan, I actually think you and I have
had this conversation for sure. Yeah. If I'm ranking those two movies, I put The Dark Knight first because I have to. Even though The Dark Knight Rises, for my money, I enjoy it without reservation. But I have to admit that The Dark Knight is a better film. Like, have to admit that. Yes.
Agreed. Yes, Fast Five is a better film. My favorite film by just a nose or two is Fast
A nose
Five.
or two? They got 2 noses next to each other.
I have a pretty big nose if you've ever looked at
a nose
thing.
or two, one Pappolla nose.
Yeah, and I give it 2 creams. Yeah.
Wow.
2 double cream in it.
Jeez,
Wow.
Man.
Save some for everybody else.
No kidding.
I'm not on those things. Who are we?
So yeah, Fast Five is, I like it. I liked it more than this one, but this is great. This is very fun. And to your point, my biggest takeaway here watching these, because by the time I came into the Fast series, which I think is 8, potentially 9, The Rock wasn't what he's doing in this movie. And it's excellent. Dwayne Johnson, what he is able to do is play The Rock, his wrestling character.
Oh, yeah.
And that's basically what he's doing in this movie. He says things that The Rock says. He has the swagger of The Rock, and it is fantastic. I loved it. I thought he was just... if you would have told me that my favorite character in the Fast series was going to be The Rock, I would have said, surely that can't be true.
Oh, no, easy.
I think it's true.
It's easy.
He's just fantastic.
It's not even close.
Hobbs is great. Just so much fun. The cars and the plane, a lot of fun. And yeah, the Letty stuff, it worked. Everything worked. And so while it took me a while to figure out where Jason Statham was in this movie, because I have seen Hobbs and Shaw, and this was not my Shaw. So I was a little confused until I was able to figure it all out eventually. But aside from that, really, really enjoyed this movie, but 5's still better. Damn.
Yeah, 5 is the best of these. And nothing in this movie comes near the scene with the safe and the 2 cars. Nothing. That scene in Fast 5 is the pinnacle, and it still is after watching this movie. In fact, I would submit, and as we watch these again, maybe I'll change my opinion, but these movies beginning with 6, the wheels start to wobble, and at F9, they come off the complete off the rails on the new version of what Fast and Furious means. So of the movies 5 to 10, F9 is my least favorite. I remember thinking this movie's just silly. Like it doesn't really, there's no real point or purpose to it. Fast 5 is like a heist movie. The stakes are there. Yes, the save scene is crazy and you have to suspend your disbelief, but most of the things in the movie are tied to some sort of reality. In 6 here, we start to dabble and Fast X, which just came out recently, is full bore and they figured out how to do that the right way and like make it crazy, but do it the right way. But I mean, amnesia enters the chat here. Yeah. You can't there's only so much we can do here. The CGI that Justin Lin has to use here, I don't think it was good when it came out, and it certainly doesn't age well. And he uses it sparingly, but when he uses it, it's tough to watch. Having said that, still better than 1 to 4. The Rock as Hobbs is amazing. There's some great set pieces here. Hobbs gets to say a bunch of fun stuff. And so, yeah. I enjoy this one quite a bit. I don't see what Ryan sees in it. I don't see I believe it's our fastologist, Kristen Jambardino. She's with you, Ryan, that Fast Five's a better movie, but this is her favorite, and vroom vroom to both of you. And I mean it in the nicest way possible. But I don't see it. I don't see how you could see this movie and think it's better, more entertaining, anything like Fast Five is you could jump into Fast Five and not care about these movies or know about these movies, and by the end I feel like your heart would still be racing. You'd still be all in on the big heist scene and Vin Diesel and The Rock fighting and then working together. Everything culminates so perfectly in that movie. And this movie is a little bit more aimless in its wandering. Yes, there's a plot, yes, there's a bad guy, and you get more Hobbs, but I don't know. It doesn't hold up for me from an effect standpoint, from a plot standpoint. The only thing we get better in this movie is more Hobbs. That's it. The rest of this movie pales in comparison to 5, but is still miles better than 1 through 4, in my opinion. And that's where I sit with it.
All right.
5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is my order.
There you go. Yeah, I like that order. You think we'll ever see The Rock wrestle again?
I'm sure.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I have no way to know, but I hope so. That'd be amazing.
The wrestlers aren't bound by any of the writers or I know that they are. I know you think it's real, Ryan, but I know that they're actors. Do you they're not bound by any of those things, right? They can still wrestle.
Two separate things. Yeah. Two totally separate things. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Let's get to all the feels. Where we talk about the feels. Ryan.
It's one moment, but it's dual meaning. There is a really, I think, Dan, I'll be curious if you agree with me on this. Do you think the tank coming out of the truck is a homage to Die Hard? You know,
I think that there's a possibility because Justin Lin loves action movies and he loves to do these set pieces, and he tends to have a heart and a strategy about them. I've never thought of that before, but I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, I think it's in the ballpark, even if not a great coincidence, because that's a really cool moment from Die Hard. And then there is this, in the midst of this, and I agree, Dan, I'm going to talk more about this in Fast or Furious, in the midst of this big action set piece where for the first time in the series, there's noticeable CGI. Yeah. There's this really touching moment with, in my opinion, it goes quick, but you got Brian and you got Tyrese, and Brian gets in the car and Tyrese just goes, yeah. And they share this really nice smile with one another. And maybe this is because I'm thinking of what we'll have to talk about when we do Fast 7 and just that all these folks became friends in real life. But there's just this really nice, quick character moment where it's family, legitimately. And it got me, if I'm being quite honest. It was really nice.
Yeah,
that was me.
I think that's the thing, is that the character payoffs in this movie aren't as, for me, I don't that stuff hits more in 7 from my memory. The character payoffs in 7 to me are the big ones. And it's not just because of the whole Paul Walker thing. It's Letty finally remembers. We think Dom's going to die.
Spoilers.
There's some big, I know, whatever. But that's when all the character stuff pays off. Aside from my feels, which I'll go ahead and start now.
Sure.
Just skip
whatever.
you.
I'll just,
The Rock.
Do whatever you want to.
The Rock and Vin Diesel get a scene in this movie, knowing how much they fight after this, that is genuinely a great moment where he like walks up shoulder to shoulder with him and basically is like, you're my boy. Like that scene is the only character payoff in this movie that really did anything for me. And it is because I know that whole relationship is about to go in the crapper, and it's going to end up with Fate of the Furious, where they literally can't share the screen together in real life. And so that scene worked for me. The rest of these emotional moments didn't feel like Letty doesn't remember Dom. She didn't remember him. At the end of this movie, she's there because she has nowhere else to go. She didn't remember him. Like, is Gal Gadot dead? Maybe. I don't know. Like, I just
Depends on who you talk to.
I don't know. No, the rest of it was whatever. Didn't really do much for me.
Let's do this, shall we? I'll tell you. Actually, I didn't do all the feels. I'm so used to going in the middle. You threw me off. You threw me off.
A question.
So occasionally with these movies, there will be something that happens that will take me by such surprise that I will scream and I'll go, no! This happened in this movie when Dom rams his car as fast as he can into the guardrails so that he will shoot him off faster out of his window, jumps to catch her and lands on a windshield. A++. What fantastic. I loved that.
I want to see the science of that. Like, I feel like they would hit each other and just fall straight down. That's a tough. Yeah. I know you loved it, but like I feel
yes,
that's a tough one. That's a tough scene to watch.
I just love that.
They figure that out better in Furious 7.
I just love that in these movies, as long as you don't fall on the ground, anything is good.
Windshield is like a Tempur-Pedic.
It is. It's a pillow fort. Yeah. It's just like fall in on clouds. You're good to go. I love that.
Glass.
I love it. Glass. Who cares?
Glass. No.
Not me.
Yeah, it gives.
It gives.
Yeah, it's breaks. It's breakaway glass.
It's breakaway glass. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the Wait What and the Fast or Furious here on Deck the Hallmark. Hello, top of the morning to you. We're what?
That was good.
It drops in the morning. It's not wrong.
Yeah, no. Or afternoon or evening.
Drops in the morning.
Whenever you're listening to it. We're talking about Fast and Furious 6. It is time for the Wait What, where we talk about what in this movie made us go, wait, what? I'm going to kick it over to my good friend Ryan. Ryan?
Dan, you want to go first here?
I would love to. Thank you, Ryan, for ceding your time. Vroom, vroom. So the thing, no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
All right. So at the beginning of this film, Dom says, Brian, remember, when you go through those doors, because his son's about to be born, your old life is done. So what they made sure to do here is have an unnecessary street race on the way to the birth of his son. Right. Because, well, the old life's about to be done. So let's have one last
hurrah while we can.
Yeah. Nothing could go wrong there.
Street races always end up great.
Yeah, the first 5 films tell us that all of this is very on the up and up. Dom and his crew are at this point the best in the world at this, where top government agent Hobbs is like, I need these guys to take down the biggest bad in the world.
Best of the best.
Tej is a tech wizard. And this is not just for this film. I think for the next couple films, when they are on a mission on road, the only way these folks can figure out how to communicate with one another is with walkie-talkies while using their other hand still on the wheel. Tej has no better suggestion.
No, they never get earpieces. They never get earpieces. Yeah. It's always a walkie-talkie.
I mean, listen, they stick to their roots, I suppose. I'll defend this film for the rest of time, as we've already noted. I'm sure this is probably on both of your list. Yeah, the scene where they make the guy strip to his underoos stinks. That scene stinks. That scene's bad. It's not funny. I'm not sure why it exists.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb. It doesn't really, even if you think that 5, understandably and agreed, is the better film, this one doesn't really fit with the feel of this movie. It doesn't make sense. That scene stinks. I'm here to tell you that Brian beating the crap out of 3 people in jail is among the coolest scenes in this film. But I'm also here to tell you that it's the most unrealistic thing in the whole saga, as we have now established through 6 films that Brian can't fight at all.
Cannot.
And thus concludes my Wait What.
At least he won't ever have to fight, like, I don't know, Ong Bak Thai Warrior in one of these movies, you know?
Yeah, that won't happen.
Never would happen in the next one.
Yeah.
Dom gets shot in the shoulder and goes back to his warehouse and he says, I'll take this out myself, no problem. And he does this via pliers going straight in, and he doesn't even flinch. It's like he's eating cereal for breakfast. Just like whatever.
Toretto. What
Boom, whatever.
Yeah.
Amazing. I would love to have that amount of confidence. I would love to be shot and go, I know, could I go to the hospital? Sure, whatever. But I've got everything I need here.
Yeah.
Boop.
Why waste my trip?
Easy. Oh, there he is. This is no problem for me. I'm going to do this, and I'm not even going to flinch. Boy, I would love to be able to do that. And Tej has so many screens. There's no way to use that many screens.
Couldn't possibly need that many
And
screens.
it's too many screens per capita because there's just not enough room for all these screens on his desk, like his 360 desk. He's just like, what do you even do with all those screens? It's too many screens. It's a lot of screens. Dan?
Yeah. Who are the recap opening credits in this movie for?
I liked it.
Is it for? Of course you
me.
did. Of course you did.
Me.
Who didn't watch the first 5 movies that is going to see that and know what's going on?
I've been listening to that Wiz Khalifa song all week. Legitimately.
It is one of the more useless in a movie that's 2 hours and 10 minutes long. We could have just gotten the proceedings. I couldn't. I was like, are they showing us scenes from all of the previous Fast and Furious movies? Like,
wasn't long enough.
Who do they think they are?
Wasn't long enough.
Good gracious. The Rock says a line early in this movie when he's talking about Shaw's men. He says, with this group that we're going after, they hit like thunder and disappear like smoke. I have bad news. Thunder doesn't hit anything. And smoke doesn't disappear quickly at all. In fact, it stays around. It lingers.
It's pretty annoying, actually.
You have to wait. Like, it gets hazy. Like, of the things.
Like, go to a concert.
Like, yeah.
Go to a concert.
One concert. You would never say by something disappearing quickly that it disappeared like smoke. Like a vapor? Sure. You said something hit like thunder, which hits nothing, and disappears like smoke, which disappears very, very slowly. Basically, these people don't hit and they're there for a long time.
0 for 2. 0 for 2.
Is what you just said. You just said this is the easiest gang to capture in the world. I don't need your help. Anyone could do it. They don't hit anything and it takes them forever to leave. Like the last guy at a party who won't get out of there. That smoke's just lingering. They'd have a better line. Somebody didn't look at the script and go, hey, Daryl, I know you just scribbled this down on a sheet of paper, but these two things ain't right. They hit like lightning. It would have worked. Lightning
Does work.
I think even if you just flipped them, they hit like smoke and disappear like thunder would make more sense.
Yeah. Yes. How in the world is that a line in this movie? I just couldn't believe it. Roman still doesn't know how much $10 million buys him. He bought a private jet. He bought a car only 4 exists in the entire world. And now he has a private jet. Guys, I am firmly in the middle to low middle class. I know what $10 million is. You maybe take one trip on a private jet if you'd like, but you're not buying a private jet and fueling it up and paying for a pilot and flying everywhere. You don't have that kind of money.
You might be wondering, how do we know he bought it? Well, he branded it.
He put his name on the outside.
Put his logo on it.
He didn't borrow
That's gotta be
one.
a couple $100,000 right there.
Yeah. It's absurd.
Maybe
man.
the special edition car really rose in value. It was a good investment, actually. He sold it, made more money.
Yeah. He just doubled his, of course.
Doubled his money.
That's right, easy. And then he still wouldn't have enough for a private jet. It is bold of our villain Shaw, upon using Paul Walker's wife, Brian's wife, Jordana Brewster, what's her name? I can't think of her name.
Mia.
Using Mia as blackmail to let him free. It's bold of him to tell his henchmen to bring her along to the pickup, to be like, hey, we've got her. Bring her. Just bring her on the flight. Just bring her on the plane, and then we'll give her back because we're good people. We're men of our word. Why did he do that? leave her somewhere detained, but he just brings her along on the cargo ship, and nobody blinks. Nobody blinks an eye at this. The reason they don't blink an is because they're on the longest runway in the history of the world. This runway is longer than some states. There is a plane that has landed, so they didn't start at the beginning of the runway. They landed in the middle of the runway, and then they're taking off, and they've not turned the thing. They are on a runway for miles and miles. It's a 30-minute scene.
Well, when you live your life a quarter mile at a time,
that's right.
That adds up.
This is lifetimes. These are lifetimes upon lifetimes
of quarter miles
of runway is what we have here. And I know that we let a lot of things slide. This is worse than the traffic in LA or lack thereof when they do.
Articles say it's between 18 and 29 miles.
Of course,
apparently someone's done the math.
Kristen has done the math. 18 and 29. Yeah, that checks. 20 mile. I could buy a 20-mile runway.
Yeah.
Yes. The scene keeps going. Like, are they even
lifetime runways uncorked?
Yeah, like
right?
that's just they literally are going to run out of fuel just driving the airplane. It's ridiculous.
We're actually not going to take off. We got to refuel. I promise we'll get it right next time. It's time for Fast or Furious, where we talk about whether or not we're fast or furious for various reasons. Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm furious, although I think that's too strong. But whether you are totally understandably in the Fast 5 camp or much like Kristen Jambardino and I and riding with Fast and Furious 6, it never quite feels like this again. Dan, to your point, there's already CGI blips in this one where it's like, we're trending towards a direction where that shred of believability that makes 5 such a classic is not here in this one, and it's gone by the next one. It's gone forever by the next one. And so I was just oddly, the way we're doing this is very interesting. So I was just oddly nostalgic and furious that there was a scenario where you could have built off 5 and it maybe would have never been as good, but it could have stayed in that grounded realm, which isn't to say I don't like 7 through 10. I love them. We're going to laugh a lot. We're all going to have 1,000 wait whats. It's going to be a great time. But it never quite feels like this again, and that's a bummer.
And upon my first viewing, and we'll see how I feel after this next viewing, but I like 7 more than 6 because I would rather you lean into the crazy. If you can make a movie with a good plot, like 7, I feel like when I saw it in the theater, and I've not seen it since then, you have a great villain in Jason Statham, and you have and then it gets crazy silly, and those two things, and then you have a great MacGuffin, the Godsmack.
They brought in Tanner MacGuffin.
They brought in Tanner, if you can believe it.
My
like
gosh.
Those 3 things together,
incredible.
For me, make a better movie than 6. We'll see how I feel after watching it a second time. But like, I'm here for crazy if we're just going to go all out and go crazy. But this movie tries to kind of have a foot in either world, and I think that is what's and you kind of see that you can start to see the threads there as the movie gets older. So I hear you.
Vroom.
Yeah, vroom.
I'm furious, and I want to speak on behalf of people who may wake up with amnesia. If a giant tree of a man says that he's your husband, and all of his friends say, yeah, you guys are together, you don't owe him anything. You don't have to hold his hand.
No.
You don't have to sit on his lap at family dinner. You don't know him.
No.
He's a giant man who just took a bullet out of his shoulder.
Yeah.
Be weary. Ask questions.
Be leery.
Be weary.
Be tired.
Weary.
Be strepidal.
Be yourself.
Be yourself, man. You don't have to just jump right back into it. Just take your time. You don't owe him anything, Letty.
Be wary.
Be wary. There it is. Dan.
Don't be weary. Don't be tired.
I mean, you might be. It's just tough.
I am fast here because I do think that this is peak Rock. I would agree with you guys on that. And to get this amount of Rock in this movie and to have him get to say the lines he said was the highlight of this movie for me. So there are a couple really great fight scenes. So I'm here for that. There you go.
Let's do driver of the week. Can you believe it? Another week, another driver
already.
Of the week. We are. Did we get any emails? hello@deckthehallmark.com.
Skibo Talron. Skibo Talron.
That's who emailed it, or that's the driver of the week?
That is the driver of the week,
Oh,
who
okay.
did email in himself.
Okay, Skibo.
Is it Skibo Tower at Hotmail?
Yeah, it's ski at Hotmail.
Oh my gosh.
.com. Skibo Tower.
Surprised that was free.
And it just says they call me the Cannon. They call me the Cannon. That's all it says.
But these emails are always so
They're
short.
so short.
Yeah.
There's
Nothing
not even
else.
a salutation. There's nothing. It just says Skibo Towerin.
Oh,
They
scoot,
call
scoot,
me
scoot, scoot.
the Cannon.
Oh, skeet.
Cannon, is that you?
Yeah, Skibo in the house, baby. What's up? I'm the Cannon.
Why do they call you the Cannon?
Oh, you watch me on a race car track, baby. You know what I'm talking. I also have a literal cannon on my top of the car. If someone makes
That
me
doesn't
mad,
slow you down aerodynamically at all.
well, here's what I did. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I built a little thing on top of the cannon to help with the tunnels and the funnels.
That would be
No,
okay.
because it's smooth.
Wouldn't it make sense to have the cannon inside your car and it pops out when
You're
you
not
want to?
ready. You don't know nothing.
I'm sorry. I
You don't know nothing.
I don't know nothing. That's exactly right.
Hey, Ski, quick question.
Yeah, Ryan.
Ryan here, yeah. Because of your Hotmail address, do people sometimes actually think you're a skier at first glance because it's ski, like a chant?
No.
Skibo, they call you the Cannon because you have an actual cannon in your car.
And I'm fast.
And
Don't
you're
leave
fast.
that out. I'm fast. I happen to have a cannon on top.
I got you.
That's not why they call me the cannon.
What numbers on the outside of your car do you just race for funsies?
16.
16,
Yep.
of course. Anything else you
It's
need
the
to...
amount of cannons I've gone through.
Skibo Tarin. How do you spell that last name?
Tarin?
Tarin.
Do the math. T.
Do the math.
Tarin. Got it.
Tarin.
Tarin. Of course.
Got a blast like a cannon.
God bless like a cannon. Wow. Man, we're meeting some interesting folks.
Having a lot of fun.
We are.
Yeah, that was.
People
that
might
was
think that this
illuminating.
is a waste of time.
No.
We're going to be back next week with another one and a very exciting announcement. You're not going to want to miss that.
Yeah.
You're going to want to watch on the Philo. I will say
You're
that.
going to want to watch the next one on the Philo.
Philo.tv. You want to watch all of them.
But the next
all
one.
of them, really.
Philo.tv. Look at this dance set Ryan's doing right now.
It's unbelievable. Look at this guy.
Oh,
look at him.
Do the bye dance. Do the bye dance. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
he did
good.
it. Nice job.
Philo.tv/DTH. And why are we not doing that? We should remake Bye, but
Yeah.
with Vroom Vroom.
Oh yeah. Well, let's get some studio time.
Yeah, let's get it.
Fast, Vroom Vroom.
Yeah. This is no.
Who's on verse 1? Can I get verse 1? Who's JT and who's JC?
I don't know who sings any verse in that song. Ryan and I.
Oh, you're such a liar.
I don't.
It's taking over your household, Dan. You posted it on the internet.
That's right.
But
Can you control your household?
Okay, I'll do my best.
It's out of control over there. We'll be back next time with another one. Until then, Vroom Vroom.
Vroom. Deck the Hallmarks of Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.